What is the nature of the population? Is the population centrist or extreme? And in the United States, I believe that in the 1980s there was a sorting out where conservatives, particularly social conservatives, sorted from the Democratic Party to the Republican Party, and moderate to liberals sorted from the Republican Party to the Democratic Party. So, and there's plenty of evidence for this. My colleague Morris Fiorina has several books on it. So what you have is a sorting of the parties, where you go from the conservative coalition, which had some conservative Southern Democrats and some Rockefeller-like Republicans, Granton-like Republicans who were moderately liberal. That's sorted out, and at the same time there's a very large rise in the number of independents, people in the United States saying they were independent, and even if they're independent-leaning Democrat or independent-leaning Republican, still more likely to switch their vote at the presidential or congressional level than others.
The first thing I had to do in thinking about this subject was decide whether I really thought civility or incivility mattered all that much, and if so, how. And what I'm going to tell you now is the product of that bit of reflection. And it begins with a line written by an American science fiction writer named Robert A. Heinlein, who had a bit of a libertarian streak to his thinking. And he once wrote in one of his novels that an armed society is a polite society. This has been a popular line ever since in America among gun rights enthusiasts on the grounds that if we want a little more politeness, all everyone has to do is strap on a six-shooter on their hip, and that will create that will take care of whatever tendency toward rudeness may creep up between people in conversation. But I was interested also in what happens if you turn that statement around and look at the negative, which is it also says that if a society is not polite, then it must not be an armed society, which I also think actually makes a certain amount of sense, because civility between people is not somehow a natural condition, or if it is, that runs contrary to the teachings of Darwin and the Bible.
These are the challenges facing America as I see it right now. In the information age, it's a question of, first of all, if the news outlets, mainly the television news outlets, are going to be responsible. They're going to stick more to news, less to personality. If you come to America and you want to make money very fast, go on television, be very outspoken, write a book, offer very wild out there ideas, and you'll make a lot of money very fast, I guarantee you. Number two, voters have to step up. Voters have to be a little more selective in their information. They have to stop buying into a lot of conspiracies that float around the web. They have to be a little more disciplined in their thought and a little more careful about where they get their information. Then thirdly, the parties. And to me, the development to watch is to see if one of the two political parties changes how it goes about choosing their nominees. Both parties go through primaries and caucuses in very small states. These are very limited populations they receive votes from, and they're very polarized groups that they get support from. So you produce candidates who are to the extreme of one end of the cycle or the other in American politics. If they change the nominating process, you'll see more centrist candidates, and that could, in theory at least, perhaps lead to more civil debates, if you will, come our general elections.
Then how to overcome and achieve civility? Well, certainly, I do not believe that the political actors or journalists can do anything about that to fix, nor do I trust that they have any willingness to do so, because, as I said, the polarization sells. Well, but however, maybe you can call me naive, I still have some trust in electorates. They've shown throughout the history the incredible sense of balancing out, which I actually saw in the just previous National Assembly election in Korea, that, for example, DUP had a coalition with the Progressive Party, and then they had to move their policy platform to the left. And incredibly, the voters had actually kind of punished it for that. And also, I can have an example like a New Deal coalition, and Republicans who opposed the New Deal PAC, they had to move their policy platform to left, to meet the public's needs, and they have to adapt themselves. So, I mean, I may not have a huge trust in the individual voters, but I still think that voters in aggregate have a huge power in balancing out.